I've always wanted to start a small business so I can really contribute to society. You know, something modest, like buying up most of the world's lithium mines in order to earn money whenever someone charges an electric car battery. Hashtag be the change. Of course, then I'd have to hire thugs to deal with those damned eco-terrorists. Welcome to Deep Thoughts While Gaming. I'm Chris Chappell. Does it ever seem like corporations have just a little too much power in your life? Like maybe when your phone dissolves into a pile of metallic ashes the moment an updated model is released with a few extra camera holes. Or when you start getting targeted advertisements clearly based on your dreams from the previous night. Or is it just a coincidence that I'm suddenly seeing ads for leopard print thongs everywhere? What did you think I was talking about? Thongs are sandals. Jesus wore them. Look it up, preferably while at work. But planned obsolescence and marketing algorithms are just small parts of the toolkit that megacorporations use to entrench and expand their influence. Many of the others are on display with the Shinra Corporation in Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Reunion, a newly released updated version of the 2007 PlayStation Portable Classic that serves as a prequel to one of the most beloved JRPGs of all time, Chrono Trigger. Just threw that in there to make sure I meet my angry comments quota for this video. Sorry, Chrono Trigger fans. Of course I'm talking about Final Fantasy VII, a 1997 RPG classic with a protagonist who was mostly silent not because that was an important part of the game design, but just because he was kind of a moody jerk. I guess emo music was just starting to take off then, but still. Time for an attitude adjustment. Crisis Core's narrative takes place 7 years before the story of Cloud, Strife & Co. from Final Fantasy VII proper, though you end up seeing lots of cameos from most of the important characters who will show up later on. Here, though, the protagonist is an infinitely more likable guy named Zack Fair. He's a small-town boy who dreamed of accomplishing big things, which led to an obvious conclusion in a world that has only one real major city, one major corporation, and, as we are constantly reminded in this game, basically one entertainment product. Zack signs up to work in Soldier, the private security force of the Shinra Corporation, basically in the same way that a young person in some real small towns could find himself with no real choice aside from joining the army or a job at Walmart. In the Final Fantasy VII universe, the two are combined. But one of the things that makes Zack a compelling protagonist, and that gives Crisis Core a unique feel, is that he's not at all the kind of RPG hero motivated by some deep personal tragedy and on a personal mission to battle the forces of darkness. Instead, he's an enthusiastic, hardworking guy looking to improve his skills and to be more like his idol, Sephiroth. Not because old Seph is a walking shampoo commercial, maybe he's born with it, maybe it's Mako energy, but because he's portrayed here mostly in his pre-villain days as Soldier's finest, well, soldier. In short, the game manages to subvert a lot of JRPG tropes. Another of the ways it does so is by having the villainous organization Shinra portrayed in a somewhat nuanced way. For most of the game, Zack is going on missions in which he and other Shinra operatives are actually helping people. And we also see how the monolithic company provides some genuinely useful services across the countless numbers of economic sectors it dominates, from power production to computer networks to transportation and public infrastructure. The genetic engineering stuff was probably not quite such a win. And without getting too spoilery, you could say that causes some issues for execs in the C-suite. But looking at the big picture, Shinra's real problem is not experiments going wrong and creating unstoppable, vengeful demigods. It's that it's just not economically efficient or socially responsible to have one company running absolutely everything. Wouldn't it have been a lot better for the company's bottom line if they could have just contracted out bids for magical super soldiers? Why do everything in-house? One of the most important topics in economics is the theory of price, or how value is determined. From Adam Smith and David Ricardo on, scholars have explored the idea that open competition is a crucial part of price finding. Only when a producer of goods and services, like say a Mako energy supplier, faces real potential market rivals, will it be forced to provide the best quality at the lowest cost to consumers? Of course, competitiveness can be taken way too far, like when it's used to justify dismantling all worker protections or outsource whole industries in search of profit. Please see our previous episode, How Street Fighter Explains Globalization. But Crisis Core's world shows us the opposite extreme. A society and economy with zero external competition, run by a monopolistic organization. When the same firm tries to manage your email servers, run the subway system, provide health care, produce the power supply, develop weapons, and create content, they're not going to do it all equally well. And not only that, but the organization itself will suffer, because efficiently run departments end up subsidizing the ones that just turn out a bunch of genocidal alien hybrids. So in other words, in the long run, it's actually bad for both society and even for Shinra itself that it seems to be getting a cut out of every transaction on planet, except for the proceeds of Aerith's flower truck. Some antitrust regulation and a little bit of free market competition would make the organization much healthier. Instead of trying to conquer Wutai to push their monopoly even further, they should be researching sustainable alternatives to inconvenient chocobo-based travel. It's true that just like Apple, Microsoft, Google, Meta, and the rest, Shinra is ultimately run based on the motive to maximize profits. But acquiring every asset in sight only looks like the best way to do so in the short term. In the long run, firms do better when they specialize and have rivals around to keep them on their toes. Otherwise, they tend to end up getting blindsided by crises of one sort or another. And we more or less know what it looks like when a company stops focusing on providing its essential services and instead decides it wants to control absolutely everything in a universe of its own making. Wait, has anyone checked in for Genova cells? Zuckerberg's not alone, of course. Other tech oligarchs have also made a habit of reaching far beyond their original bailiwicks to try and gobble up more of the society around them. Jeff Bezos added a media empire on top of Amazon's core business. Elon Musk felt like living on Mars wouldn't be hellish enough, so he decided to take over Twitter. And his former PayPal co-founder, Peter Thiel, has openly said he aims to sponsor companies that will become monopolies, because competition is for losers. Hopefully Shinra will get the message as the FF7 remake saga continues. It's a firm with a long history and many achievements to be proud of. I wish them the best. Unless they start going big on NFTs, then they deserve whatever Sephiroth throws at them. Keep watching Deep Thoughts While Gaming. And if you happen to be Team Tifa, let us know by liking the video. Meanwhile, if you're Team Aerith, you can also let us know by liking the video. Or in other words, both sides can just like the video and then fight it out in the comments.